There's a tiny moment in part 2 that's always left a powerful impression on me, and it's when, during Batman and Superman's fight, it cuts to Alfred in Wayne Manor. He's been ordered to burn everything down, but before he does, he goes through an old photo album showing Bruce's upbringing from baby to the age where his parents died. It's one thing to reflect upon Batman's childhood in his 30s. It's another to see it at the end of his life, because now it feels hopeless, like any chance for him to change or grow out of his pain has been lost by an entire lifetime. But then the light begins to flicker, because Batman is using the entire city's power grid to fight, and it's like we're reminded that he wasn't trapped. Instead, he ascended from a mortal man to a self-made god, fighting the sun god now. People often remember Dark Knight Returns as being a really grounded and gritty tale, but it's actually very operatic and fantastical. We watch an old man fighting a rope, and now we watch him fight Ronald Reagan. The second half of DKR has effectively two conflicts that pays off the two themes from before. The first is Batman and Joker's last battle, which effectively climaxes the American Mask theme from before. The world of DKR is one that is fundamentally incapable of facing its own demons or demand change, where the media and the people in charge constantly tells us the world isn't on fire while we're choking on the flames, leading to people either trying to take their own lives or given to the nihilism. Batman has now inspired a new path, change and collective responsibility.
This is the face of the future. Let Gotham's criminals beware!
The more conservative crowd refuses to accept this improvement, so the Joker is used as a mouthpiece for this anti-Batman conservatism.
I bet I could arrange an appearance for you on one of the shows.
But as you expect, Joker kills his self-help author, pop psychologist dude, and Conan O'Brien, while Batman can't do anything because the newly installed commissioner stops him at every turn. The villain of this conflict isn't just the Joker, but also society's general petty reluctance to acknowledge its own problems and its unaware sense of narcissism. In fact, Joker's last move is to kill himself to frame Batman, so society would finish him off.
I've asked the governor to place the state police at Gotham City's disposal to hunt down this dangerous fugitive.
Joker and the worst of the 80s are the same. As Miller once said in relations to writing Batman in the 80s, it was easier to write Batman. The world is a horrible, disgusting place. It's terrifying. Just the world political situation, just the amount of crime, all of that created a general paranoia in life, justifying a character like Batman that couldn't be justified in a good world. The America Batman and Joker is in likes the unlikable parts of itself too much to do anything more than just sit and drag everyone into its own feces. And the sense of narrative disgust is made all the more apparent by the broader political setting. Ronald Reagan is not only a character in the story, and I don't mean a character as in, oh, he so happened to be the president at the time. He's basically the villain of the story, a symbolic baboon who's so disconnected from the people he's neglecting that he's entirely defined by his irresponsibility. He escalates the war with the Soviets and uses really patronizing language, calling them bullies and stuff to explain himself. He passes his responsibilities on to others all the time when questioned.
That's a matter for the state level.
And there's a moment where he flips and forgets to say freedom.
But we've got to protect our interest. Stand up for freedom.
And in the end, his war leads to a nuke which takes out all of America's electricity, leading to riots and chaos everywhere except for Gotham.
Adding to the massive credibility nightmare being experienced by the president's administration.
Subsequently, this conflict between Batman versus Ronald Reagan is where the second theme, creating a future from a hopeless place, is also climaxed. Bruce, from making sense of his trauma at age 55 to de-radicalizing the youth of a lost generation, is now leading them to reject guns and to help him turn America from being a place that's just made up of loads of selfish individuals into an actual community.
Boys and girls, I am here to appeal to your community spirit. I know you've had your differences in the past. Some of you will even argue that you can't work together. That's fine. Those people will stay tied up, and it will not be a function of which group you're in.
We're better than this! The fires are spreading and the fire department isn't coming. So if any of you want roofs over your heads tomorrow and the day after that, start helping.
What is this, the Gestapo? He lumps us together with criminals? Shut up, man.
The rest of you can lend a hand to keep our city from falling apart. You can lead by example.
The world may spend all of its time trying to hide all of its problems, and we all may become victims to the petty stupidity of those in charge, but we don't have to be petty or stupid ourselves. This guy might.
I'm suing.
Good luck with that.
In this moment, Batman isn't anything special because everyone is special. Everyone is Batman. Mutants, civilians, neighbors, all of Gotham. The new commissioner even sees this herself. Batman is too big. He's not just a man, he is change personified, who reawakens community and collective action in the American spirit. However, his victory also makes Ronald Reagan look so bad that he sends Superman to stop him. Superman was created as a social crusader, someone who stood for the little guy, but now he's a government tool, which sucks, but I get it. Obviously, Batman can't beat up Ronald Reagan, so in terms of the next big American symbol, Superman is the most provocative, especially after his reputation from the 50s. There are concessions made to try and make him not entirely unlikable though, like he desperately does not want to fight his friend. He's always respectful of letting his brother decide when and where to meet, and the battle itself is more of a symbolic standoff between Batman and the American establishment anyways. There's loads of lines like him screaming,
They only want me dead because I'm an embarrassment. Because I do what they can't. What kind of authority is that?
and his final famous speech is to tell Clark to always remember what it feels like to be powerless and to stay out of his way of the one man who beat him. It's badass, but it doesn't really mean anything on a character level because Clark is never really hubris in the story, and we earlier just saw him nearly die from a nuclear bomb. And afterwards, he's not in fear of Batman's wrath. He still has deep love for his bro.
Don't touch him.
He winks when he realizes he's been duped, but as a speech targeted at the entire establishment, it makes perfect sense. This story has been about the wrath of one man who made the entire system look like a joke, who made a difference, who showed us that the gods are not those in power but are actually inside ourselves, and releasing it, we can heal divisions, form community, look after ourselves, and imagine a future finally, and see that those in charge, those that are supposed to be looking after us, are really just fallible mortals. Batman then fakes his death and goes underground with the sons of Batman and Ollie.
Look, I'm an old lefty.
He's gonna teach everyone his ways, his methods, his beliefs, therefore securing the future for everyone else and himself. Bruce no longer looks for a good death. Instead, he looks forward to his life. Alright, so that was the Dark Knight Returns duology. I didn't plan to make them one after the other, but then I realized if I don't do part 2 now, I'm probably not going to be in the right mood when I do in the future. So here it is. Special thanks to everyone on Patreon. There's going to be 2 exclusive video essay series on there now, the voted on essays, which will be on non-superhero stuff, and the exclusive Patreon reviews I'm going to do. I've already done one on Black Adam, in fact. You guys are the best, and I love you.
Oh, yeah, well,